Hi, happy you could make it.
We are too.
Hey, where's the fountain?
This is Project Sinatra. I'm Paul Compton. During this hour, Quincy Jones discusses his feeling of loss during the bleak days of the Sinatra retirement. Frank will show his stand-up comedic capabilities, and Joey Bishop will discuss his favorite Sinatra song. But right now, I have a feeling it will move.
The most beautiful girl in the world picks my tires out, she eats my candy, she drinks my brandy. Most beautiful girl in the world. The most beautiful star in the world. She isn't Garbo, isn't Dietrich, but a sweet trick who can make me believe it's a beautiful world. Social, not a bit, natural kind of wit. She'd shine anywhere, and she hasn't got platinum hair. The most beautiful house in the world hasn't mortgage. What do I care? It's goodbye there. When my slippers are next to the ones that belong to the one and only beautiful girl in the world. She's got a natural kind of wit, and I tell you she'd shine anywhere. And she hasn't got platinum hair. The most beautiful house in the world, it has a mortgage. What do I care? It's goodbye there. And my slippers are next to the ones that belong to the one and only beautiful girl. The one and only beautiful girl. The one and only beautiful girl in the world.
Project Sinatra continues. During a Southern California interview, Mike Stiles posed this question to Quincy Jones.
Speaking of Sinatra, do you think he'll stay retired?
I hope not. I hope he gets tempted to come back and at least do a few things, because, man, he's, as far as I'm concerned, is show business, as a singer, performer, everything, it's greatly missed, it puts a big dent in the overall picture of what the stage is all about, and records, too. I really do miss him,
The missing and the waiting is over. One day, old Blue Eyes walked into the studio and, together with Don Costa and Gordon Jenkins, began to record again a most sensitive treatment of this song.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Send in the clowns. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clowns? Just when I'd stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines, no one is there. Don't you love the farce? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clowns? Send in the clowns. Don't bother, they're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this late in my career. Where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year.
Project Sinatra continues. On his return to television, Sinatra made mention that during his retirement, very young people would ask him what he did as a performer. And then he proceeded to demonstrate with some of the songs that had made him famous. Here is a classic pre-retirement performance.
Good evening. Salud. Chin down. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jilly's West. Where the elite meet to eat. And if I rhyme that, this will be a barn in the morning. I hope that you're having an enjoyable stay here in Las Vegas, and also hope that you have been fortunate. I do wish that for you. I can't say the same for Mr. Basie and myself, because we run into a streak of bad luck. Sunday, we went up to the Grand Canyon, and it was closed. And last year, we invested a bundle of money in a pumpkin farm, and then they called off Halloween. And when I told that to Sapphire, she said, "You're going around with that bum again. That's what's the matter with you." Ooh. The question most asked of me is, does Dean Martin really drink? Well, I can attest to that fact. He's a drunk. He is an absolutely unqualified drunk. And if we ever develop an Olympic drinking team, he's going to be the coach. With Toots Shaw and Jackie Gleason involved, and me bringing up the rear end. I would say, roughly, that Dean Martin has been stoned more often than the United States embassies. I'm not too sure whether you applauded for Dean or we should stone some more embassies. I don't know about this group here, you know.
I tell you one thing about Dean Martin. When you go to his home in Beverly Hills for an evening's fun, he holds real steadfast to one rule. There's no drinking after dinner. Of course, you don't eat till 3:30 a.m., but there's no drinking after dinner. And also, when we finish the first phase of the, which is damn near complete now, the second phase is redoing this Copa room here. Larger stage, more capacity. And Mr. and Trotter, to show you the class of the thinking of this hotel, they're closing Golden Boy to bring Sammy Davis in here for 4 solid weeks just to clean. I saw Sammy's first television show. I'd like to make one comment on that show. There's a lot I can make, but I want to make one comment on this show. Sammy Davis wrote a book called Yes, I Can. And when I saw that show, I sent him a wire and said, no, you can't. Now, I guess that you folks have heard or read or have been told somewhere that recently I became 50 years old, and I'm here to tell you right now it's a dirty communist lie. Direct from Hanoi. It came right out of there. My body may be 50, but I'm 28. And I would further like to say that I'd be 22 if I hadn't spent all those years drinking with Joey Lewis, who nearly wrecked me. Remember the words of Joey Lewis, who said, "A friend in need is a pest." And you think about that when you go to bed and it'll break you up later on. And if you do think about that when you go to bed, you shouldn't be allowed to go to bed. However, folk, I'm a Sagittarian. I was born on December 12th, 1915, and I was born a very skinny kid. Little kid, skinny. So skinny my eyes were single file. Between those two and my belly button, my old man thought I was a clarinet. You see, Charlie, a clarinet, you put your finger on the hose like this, you see? Oh, gee. Where'd you come from, the Yellow Pages or Sears and Roebuck? And I was born in this tenement house in Hoboken, New Jersey, and it was a walk-up, 8 floors. And it was one of those places, no, they're going to have elevators in 1915. Otis wasn't even born yet, I think, when I had this house. And we never knew we were going to have any lights, any food, any heat of any type, mice running around. Funny part of it is my folks were very wealthy. They just hated me, that's all. They gave me the loyalty test immediately. And eventually I managed to fight my way through the qualms and traumas of life, and I got to grow up to be 16 or so. And I was about ready to get out of high school about a few months before. My father was called into the school by the principal for about the 700th time. And he said to my dad, "Here's the diploma, get him out." That's what he do say. Get him out. I must explain to you that when we walked out and stood on the steps of the high school, my father said to me, and I must first mention the fact that my father is a Rutgers graduate and he majored in English. And he said to me, "What the hell is the matter with you? What's the matter? You don't want to learn nothing?" He was great with English. He spoke beautifully. He also had an ear like this, a chungamir, see? That was my mother who gave him that from yelling at him all the time. So he said to me, he knew I wanted to get in show business, and he gave me the alternative, as all parents did in those days. You want to be a bum in show business, you want to get a real job. So I figured, well, what the heck, he's my dad, I love him, and I'll go along with his ideas. So he got me a job. You know what a thrill it is to get a hernia for $62.50 a week? Lifting crates of 600 pounds with another little guy with a hand truck? Well, he got me another job in a shipyard, Todd Shipyards. And I was a rivet catcher in the hold of a ship. But the guy throwing them was a real jagad. He was a cockeye like this. He couldn't hit a bull in a fanny with a bag of rice, this bum. And I cleaned that up. Well, no sense in trying to explain it. It hurried my career into show business. I quit right away. gave in my union button with the peak cap and the leather jacket, and I walked out right away. That's exactly what I had. And I packed my little straw case and went to New York, and that was it. I even bummed a ride on the ferry. And, you're not listening too well, folks. Anyway, I got together a quartet, see? And we were called the Hoboken Four. And in those days, there was a very big radio program on called Major Edward Bowes. Now, Ted Mack today on television is a spin-off of the original radio show, because he used to work for Bowes. And Bowes used to come on the air and he'd say, the wheel of fortune spins round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. That was the dullest opening I ever heard on any radio show. Wait a minute now. He was a pompous bum with a bulbous nose. He used to drink Green River. He was a big drunk, this guy. I don't know if you ever heard of Green River, but it takes the paint over your deck if you got a boat. 59 cents a gallon, baby. Anyway, we were a big hit on the show, the Hoboken Four, and he kept bringing us back, but he had to change the name, obviously, because it was a legitimate amateur show, except it wasn't. So he brought us back as the Newark Nightingales, the Teaneck Teen Tones, the Secaucus Cockamamies. Touching name, isn't it? The Bayonne Bacalars was the one that killed me. Listen, I'll hold it up till you get back if you want, buddy. I'll kind of linger a little bit. The way you're walking, 8 to 5, you don't get there in time. He's walking sideways like this. Well, that was just a small summation of my career, which is very dull. And I must say, I had a marvelous time in this career of mine up till now, and I don't plan to stop either, by the way. I mean, having a marvelous time. Because, thank you. I must say seriously that what with the enthusiastic followings that have followed through the years, all the way up to now, the buying of records, the watching of television shows and seeing the movies, that's all important to me, and it's all gratifying to me as far as you are all concerned. Now, I'm not trying to get hokey about this, but it's true. That's what helps make it a good career. Now, I don't care where you go. That's the dullest speech you're ever going to hear the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Now, I think I better sing before I turn 51. I mean 29, excuse me. You make me feel so young. You make me feel like spring sprung. Every time I see you grin, such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I want to run and play hide and seek. I want to go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I, we're just like a couple of tots running around the meadow, picking up all those forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, because you make me feel so young. You make me young. You make me think that spring is sprung. Every time I see you grin, I'm such a cuckoo individual. The moment that you speak, I like to run and play hide and seek. I'd like to go and bounce at the moon just like a big balloon, because you and I, we are just like a couple of tots who are running around the meadow, snatching up all those
forget me nots. You make me young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, lots of bells to be rung, and a wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, because you make me feel so, man, I just feel so. You make me feel so young, so
Project Sinatra continues.
Sky, so vast is the sky, with faraway clouds just wandering by. Where do they go? Oh, I don't know, don't know. Wind that speaks to the leaves, telling stories that no one believes, stories of love belong to you and to me. If I only had words, I would say all the beautiful things that I see when you're with me, oh my Gingy. Oh Gingy, like the song of the wind in the trees, that's how my heart is singing, Gingy. Happy Gingy, when you're with me. I love you more each day, yes I do, yes I do. I'd let you go away if you take me with you. Don't you know, Gingy, I'd be running, searching for you like a river that can't find the sea. That would be me without you, my Gingy. Like a river that can't find the sea. That would be me without you, Gingy, Gingy, Gingy.
Frank Sinatra, the Antonio Carlos Jobim composition Gingy. In this recording, his only departure from the melodic line is that one drop down on me. Were I Jobim the composer, I would be tempted to think to myself, I wish I had written it that way. Project Sinatra continues. In a radio interview I did with the celebrated composer-conductor Billy May, with whom Sinatra has done so many album sessions, I was questioning him as to Frank's qualifications as a singer. The interview went something like this. Billy?
I made a statement that I felt Sinatra could drive or help drive almost any band, the drive within him. And he was quite in agreement. How do you feel about that?
Well, Frank is well-schooled. I mean, a lot of people wonder about him, and there's a good deal of controversy and pros and cons about him in the press and so forth. But Frank is a well-schooled and a good singer, and he's a better-than-average musician. And his musical ideas, are better than the average singer's ideas. But Frank has always got pretty good ideas about how he wants it, the tempo he wants, and he'll make some suggestions, and usually they're within the bounds of excellent taste. So I have to say that I do admire his talent.
You're not alone.
You're nobody till somebody loves you. You're nobody till somebody cares. You may be king, you may possess the world and its gold, but gold won't bring you happiness when you're growing old. The world still is the same, you'll never change it. As sure as the stars shine above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. Find yourself somebody to love. You're nobody till somebody loves you. You're nobody till somebody cares. You may be king, you may possess the whole world and its gold, but gold won't bring you happiness when you're getting old. The world still is the same, you'll never change it. As sure as the stars shine above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. So find yourself somebody, gotta get yourself somebody, because you're nobody till somebody loves you. You're nobody till somebody cares. You may be a king, you might possess the big fat world and its gold. The gold won't bring you happiness when you're growing old. The whole world's the same, you'll never change it. Change it as sure as the stars shine above.
For one must agree with Billy May, he has talent and he can drive a band. But what a foundation was laid down musically there by Billy May. In the 24-hour Sinatra special, which was aired in Miami, produced and narrated by Biggie Nevins, Frank was queried as to the development of his completely definitive vocal style. It went this way.
It's common knowledge now. I used to pay a great deal of attention to Tommy when I was singing with the Dorsey Band, because he had a he had a marvelous way of approaching a song in that even without the lyrics, he made it so musical that you never lost the thought, the thread of the melody. So I tried to do that with my lyrics by making a very happy marriage of the melody and words in the fact that I didn't breathe too often. I constantly kept the thought going all the time. Now, I not only did that, I used to listen to Heifetz a good deal, and all other instrumentalists, legitimate instrumentalists who used to do solos and with the symphony orchestras. And I found that if you could imitate or ape the bowing of the violin as Heifetz did in some of the Largo movements he used to do, in either the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto or the Brahms or Beethoven, any one of them, I found that if I could ape that, it made for an easier sound on the listener's ear. It wasn't jerky. It never ended abruptly, and it never began abruptly.
On his very first Columbia recording, I think what you have just heard from Sinatra is most completely attained, because in this instance he is working with a group of singers. There are no musicians to carry, and this extension of the lyrical vocal style, the hold, out of the bridge into the final 8 bars, you will hear on this first Columbia recording, Close to You. Beautiful backing on this, his first Columbia album supplied by the Bobby Tucker Singers. Project Sinatra continues. Never have I heard anybody convey the thought of devotion with the word crawl more effectively than does Sinatra on this one.
Anytime you want me, honey, just let me know. When you need affection and you're looking for somewhere to go, I'll be home round the house just waiting for your call. I mean, anytime you want me, anytime, oh, don't be ashamed to let me know you love me. That's such a silly thing to do. 'Cause anytime you call me baby, I'll come running straight to you. I'll be there beside you, even if I have to crawl. Anytime you want me, I'm saying anytime at all.
I'll be right beside you, even if I have to crawl.
Anytime you want me, I mean anytime at all.
Voicing by Frank Sinatra. There is an album called Watertown. It happens to be one of my favorite albums, composed by Bobby Gaudio and Jake Holmes. It tells a story of a place called Watertown. In the album, much descriptive material is used.
There is no great big ending, no sunset in the sky. There is no string ensemble, and she doesn't even cry. And just as I begin to say that we should make another try, she reaches out across the table, looks at me and quietly says goodbye. There is no big explosion, no tempest in the tea. The world does not stop turning round. There's no big tragedy. Sitting in a coffee shop with cheesecake and some apple pie, she reaches out across the table, looks at me and quietly says goodbye. Goodbye, said so easily, goodbye, said so quietly, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Just two always strangers avoid each other's eyes. One still make-believing, one still telling lies. She tells me that I'm not to blame, but when I ask the reason why, she reaches out across the table, looks at me and quietly says goodbye. Goodbye. said so easily goodbye, said so quietly goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. She reaches out across the table, looks at me and quietly says goodbye.
Material by the combination of Gaudio and Holmes, who couldn't have been more than 24 when they wrote the song. Tremendous depth to this lyric. From the Watertown album, Goodbye, She Quietly Says, Project Sinatra continues. In a radio interview, when asked about his favorite song, the Flip, Joey Bishop, had a typical remark.
Well, the truth of the matter is, it is the I can't think of the name of it right now. It's a Spanish song, which of course he does in English. Granada. Boy, now that's what I call great, which I also taught Frank. I taught him, well, he used to say, he didn't know, he said, hey, grandma. And it took 3 days for me to tell him it's not grandma, Frank, it's Granada. And that's what made the song a hit.
Granada, I'm falling under your spell. And if you could speak, what a fascinating tale you would tell of an age the world has long forgotten, of an age that weaves a silent magic in Grenada today. Dawn in the sky greets the day with a sigh for Granada. For she can remember the splendor that once was Granada. It still can be found in the hills all around as I wander along, entranced by the beauty before me, entranced by a land full of flowers and song. When day is done and the sun starts to set in Granada, I envy the blush of the snow-clad Sierra Nevada. Soon it will welcome the stars while 1,000 guitars play a soft habanero. Then moonlit Granada will live again the glory of yesterday. Romantic, hey Granada.
Back with a ballad in just 1 minute.
As Project Sinatra continues. Chemistry, empathy, karma, alchemy, complete affinity for the man. Who knows, but it's there.
In the wee small hours of the morning, while the whole wide world is fast asleep, you lie about the girl and never ever think of counting sheep. When your lonely heart has learned its lesson, you'd be hers if only she would call in the wee small hours of the morning. That's the time you miss her most of all. When your lonely heart has learned its lesson, you'd be hers if only she would call in the wee small hours of the morning. That's the time you miss her most of
Like they say,
Strings, anyone? I'm Paul Compton, and this is Project Sinatra.